Imagine. Imagine more. Imagination launched UC San Diego. The founders imagined the world-class university we have today, and they set out to build it.
Tonight we celebrate the fruits of their imagination. We celebrate their leap of faith, we celebrate their boldness, and we celebrate their determination that created our distinctive university. Tonight we celebrate our honorees. Their imagination, boldness, and determination has had a profound impact on all of us.
The four recipients of tonight's awards embody the qualities of those pioneers. A nationally recognized teacher and expert in secondary education. A research scientist dedicated to science education in high schools. A successful digital entrepreneur, actively involved with the university at all levels. An assistant secretary of state, known for his Asia initiatives. Together, they have each hewn their own very individual and distinct careers, but they have never ever forgotten where they came from or why they loved this place. Kelly Kovacic, who will receive this year's Emerging Leader Award, taught at Preuss School UCSD for 10 years, and in 2010 was awarded the San Diego County Teacher of the Year, the California Teacher of the Year, and was one of the 4 finalists for the National Teacher of the Year.
UCSD was what I imagined, but much more than what I imagined. Because of the college system, you got a very personalized experience, but at the same time were able to participate and be a member of a vibrant university.
Jim Rohr, who will receive this year's Distinguished Service Award, has been a leading research scientist at Spawar Systems Center for over 20 years. He has demonstrated remarkable initiative and leadership in the area of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education, inspiring middle school students to pursue the field of engineering.
I had a wonderful mentor in the Navy that I was working with at that time, and he was quite passionate about me coming here. It was really such a huge growth experience for me and showing me the opportunities of what I can imagine.
Leo Spiegel, who will receive this year's Distinguished Leadership Award, launched his first entrepreneurial ventures at UC San Diego, co-founding his own software development and international systems firm. But he also imagined more for himself and his community. He gives back through service on Rady School of Management's Dean's Advisory Council, is a trustee of the UC San Diego Foundation and chairman of its development committee, and serves as a board member of UC San Diego's Entrepreneur Challenge.
When I imagined UCSD, I really thought about a place that was really academically rigorous, but also fun. I felt like I was using my mind in ways that I could never imagine. I was so challenged. I chose Ravel because I really liked the curriculum and this notion that you should be sort of more of a Renaissance type of academic.
Kurt Campbell, who will receive this year's Outstanding Alumnus Award, has had an enviable academic and diplomatic career. Most recently, as Assistant Secretary of State for East Asian and Pacific Affairs, he was the primary architect of the Pivot or Rebalancing Initiative, which aims to re-establish weakened political ties with East Asia.
I'd read about UC San Diego. It's probably the most beautiful place on the planet. It's magnificent. But what I did not imagine was the quality of the education, of the professors, of the people that I would work with. Everything that I imagined about UC San Diego was, in many respects, dwarfed by the reality of it.
UC San Diego is indeed grounded in the quality of its professors, their love of knowledge, based in the practical truisms of research, has inspired generations of students to imagine a deeper and better life for themselves and for the world around them.
The reason why I'm doing what I'm doing today and I feel passionate about this work is because of those formative experiences in dimensions of culture. I would say the other class that was incredibly influential and inspirational was a class that I took with Professor Bud Meehan, who also was one of the founders of the Price School. And again, it gave me answers for the inequality that I was seeing out in the field.
My advisor, Dr. Victor Anderson, he advised me to take some courses in the engineering department in fluid mechanics, and sort of fell in love with that and the possibilities. You know, now I could sort of begin to imagine how I could play a role there. My respect for teaching came from people like Professor Libby and Dr. Miller. I mean, to see those people in the classroom and their passion for what they did, it was really uplifting and invigorating.
Probably the greatest blessing I had at UCSD is this amazing experience I had with two professors, one who's Clive Granger and the other is Dick Attia. And being crazy and a little bit arrogant, I went to Clive Granger and I told him that I thought his life's work was wrong. And Clive proved the random walk theory of the stock market. And I told him I didn't think it was random and I thought that I could mathematically prove that he was wrong. And he laughed and thought it was great, and he paired me up with Professor Attia, and he said, look, prove me wrong. And he said, but there's sort of one condition. I want you to go to work, basically, in a brokerage firm where people actually trade money. So I did all the research, and by the way, he was right, the stock market is random.
Probably the person who got me most interested in Asia at the outset was Susan Shirk. She was wonderful. I studied very closely with Herb York and Roger Revelle. They were extraordinarily supportive and generous with their time. I also had a chance to learn diplomatic history from one of the greats, Armin Rappaport. But each of these men and women, in their way, inspired me, gave me a sense of the bigger world. I still remember them to this day.
To inspire and to give a sense of the bigger world. From its earliest days, this was the practical mission of this new campus. And generations of students have taken that to heart, imagining more for themselves and the wider society.
I went into Southeast San Diego and was tutoring at a high school there, and it opened my eyes to a world that was very different from the world that I grew up in. After leaving UC San Diego, I imagined that my career would hopefully be one that would be able to make an impact in education, and particularly would be able to address the opportunity gap that we see between students who are able to reach their fullest potential and those that are not given the same opportunities to do so.
After completing his PhD in 1985, Jim Rohr joined SPAWAR, the Navy's Space and Naval Warfare Systems Command.
I was able to find my main love, which is fluid mechanics, and started managed research programs. There was a small segment of that involved college internships. And over time, that sort of grew and became a bigger part of my job. Last year, we had 10,000 volunteer hours, and a lot of them have been students from UCSD. So it's sort of oh wow stuff for these middle school kids. But what's most important is that we have the parents there. If they can see that their parents also value this, that's important.
Questioning is the fuel of imagination, and it is something that UC San Diego and its alumni excel at. Leo Spiegel's questions led to a new career as an entrepreneur.
I got an internship down in La Jolla at a firm called Beige, Halsey, Stork, Shields. All of these brokers were basically buying personal computers, and they literally had no software. So I wrote a portfolio management system, I wrote customer contact management systems and all kinds of things, and that became my business. So I've always been eternally grateful to UCSD and to Professors Granger and Attia for really pushing me in that direction, because I don't know where my life would frankly be if I hadn't done that.
Kurt Campbell imagined his career at an early age, but it would take a leap of faith and scholarships to achieve his goals.
I think I always wanted to be a diplomat. When I was a student in the Soviet Union, I was invited to a recital at the ambassador's home. And I remember being in that home, I was about 19 or 20 years old, thinking, I'm going to serve in this capacity someday. And I have enormous respect for traditional diplomats, you know, Disraeli and Metternich and others. But at a personal level, watching master politician and diplomat with just off-the-charts emotional intelligence like Secretary Clinton was a great honor.
The short history of UC San Diego reinforces the idea that there is something in its genetic code that propels its students and faculty to imagine more, to imagine the future, to imagine what the next generation will carry into that future, and then to create it.
Being part of the Preuss School, I was able to see a system that worked. But we have thousands of other students that on a daily basis across this country are not getting that opportunity. And it is my life's work to think about ways in which we can scale up what Preuss is doing so that many, many more children in our system get the same opportunity and the same education.
There's just too few American students going into STEM. And although we're not the silver bullet, we're part of the bullet. I'm in an elementary school at first grade. I haven't seen much difference between Southeast San Diego and La Jolla. But by high school, there's an enormous difference. So for things to really work, there has to be a much longer investment, to try to provide that equality, from first grade on.
I've spent a lot of time working and helping the university, and I hope what people get is inspired. Because, like every generation, my time will come, and I want that next generation of leaders to come and really make a difference. It's pretty remarkable what UCSD has accomplished, and I am convinced, full stop, that in the next 50 years it will even do a greater amount of things than it did in the first 50 years.
I believe that the university is really on the cusp of entering the very top tier. It has such remarkable capabilities in science and technology and medicine, but what it has accomplished more recently in the social sciences, the institute that is focusing on the diplomacy of the Americas and Asia is probably the finest in the world. I'm just very bullish on the future of UC San Diego, and that's one of the reasons that I want to go back. I want to help support its mission here in the 21st century.
Tonight, you were asked to imagine more. And it is the power of imagination, married to the rigor of academics and research, that are the hallmarks of UC San Diego. It's what set this university on its course to greatness. It is what distinguishes its alumni in the world. They don't see boundaries. They see challenges. As we celebrate these alumni, we invite you to keep imagining. And together, we will imagine the future of this unique institution.